Nelson Havi. And Wakili, how different is where today's demonstration be? Because in 2013 we had Occupy Parliament. We made it when members of Parliament were asking for salary increment. Today now we have Occupy Parliament because the president is yet to dissolve Parliament. How different is today's Occupy Parliament different from other demonstrations that have been held?
Good morning and thank you. First and foremost, there is no protest or demonstration, a strike or a picket today. Today, as I indicated to the speakers of the National Assembly, the Senate, as well as the clerks, and this is more important, the Inspector General of the National Police, we are going to Parliament to speak with those 4 state officers who control the affairs of Parliament. There is no protest, and the number of people going there is 20. Now, what is our mission? We're going to indicate to the 4 state officers that the term of parliamentarians has come to an end today, the President of the Republic of Kenya having failed to dissolve Parliament, and 21 days which are implied by the law having lapsed. How different is today's event? Today's event is different because it deals with an issue that is anchored in the Constitution. It's not an idle enterprise. And all Kenyans must realize the magnitude of the controversy we are now facing. Remember, last week we indicated that there will be a constitutional crisis effective today if the President of the Republic of Kenya does not act in accordance with the advice given by the Chief Justice. It must also be understood that under Article 1 of the Constitution of Kenya, legislative power can either be exercised directly or through delegates. Parliamentarians are our delegates. Their term having come to an end, it is imperative that processes be put in place to enable the people of Kenya exercise delegate legislative authority directly, pending such a time as the president will do the needful to enable the by-election to be held as required under Article 261, sub-Article 7 and 8 of the Constitution of Kenya.
So are you confident that the conversation that you're going to be having with the leadership of Parliament, that is the Senate, the National Assembly, and other people who will be part of this conversation, that it will yield fruit?
We have extended an arm. If they propose to return a fist, it's absolutely up to them. What we know is that all these state officers serve at the mercy and on behalf of the people of Kenya. It is therefore our expectation that they will afford us facilitation. They will not interfere with our entry. The police will not come to disrupt this procession, which is a peaceful and armed procession, and that there will be fruitful discussions which will give momentum on how best to resolve this matter.
So let's look at the other side of the coin, Wakili. So at the end of the day, we'll have this meeting, have discussions on the way forward. Parliament should be dissolved. And the member of the Parliament was saying that dissolving Parliament is not a solution. So if the president goes ahead and fails to dissolve Parliament, what is the next option for the Law Society of Kenya?
Well, it cannot lie in the mouths of members of Parliament who assert that dissolving Parliament is not a solution. This is the solution, and this is the solution that was engraved in the Constitution by the people of Kenya themselves. And members of Parliament, being delegates, they are agents of the people of Kenya. When directed to perform an act by the principals, acting through another delegate, being the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya, it is incumbent upon them to comply. They cannot subject the Constitution to a futile argument as they are doing. Similarly, it is also imperative that the President of the Republic of Kenya upholds the rule of law and the Constitution, which he swore to uphold by dissolving Parliament. What is the way forward? We propose to continue with a peaceful way of calling out parliamentarians, calling out the President of the Republic of Kenya, with the expectation that he will yield and for the first time do the right thing in the Constitution. There are many other avenues available which we'll explore as and when opportunity avails itself. We do not want to preempt what may be ahead of us today or tomorrow. The President may as well just decide to dissolve Parliament. You never know.
But actually, dissolving Parliament, you know, the Attorney General was arguing that dissolving Parliament will affect the term of the President, the sitting President, that is President Uhuru Kenyatta. It also affect the term of a new member of Parliament who gets in. We're talking about Msambweni by-election. How true is that argument?
Well, first and foremost, a dichotomy must be set out between the executive at the national level as well as at the county level on one hand, and Parliament. Parliament is just that. It is constituted of the National Assembly and Senate. The dissolution that was advised by the Chief Justice was directed at Parliament. Why? Because the obligation to enact legislation that is intended to effectuate the two-third gender rule was on the shoulder of Parliament, not on the shoulder of the President, not on the back of the governor, not on the hands of members of the county assemblies. If you have that in consideration, then that is the correct legal position. I say so because I perceive a calculated attempt by the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya to continue misadvising the people. I do not know if this is the advice is given the President, because if that is the advice, then it explains why the President, who is otherwise a law-abiding person, could not have acted in terms of the directive by the Chief Justice. So the long and short of this is, the only election that will be held will be the election of members of the National Assembly and the Senate. It's quite unfortunate. Should that election happen immediately after the by-election of Msambweni, then the people of Msambweni will have to elect somebody. But it does not affect the term of the President. It does not affect the term of the executive insofar as it's constituted at the national level and percolated down to the county.
I was about to ask you that, because the country is still not ready for a by-election. Because if all these members of Parliament and the members of the Senate Assembly are sent home parking, the same parking based on the ruling that was given by the advice that was given by the Chief Justice, Kenyans are not, we look like they're not really ready for a by-election because of the financial situation that the country is facing right now, and also because of COVID-19.
The point is this. Nobody is ever ready for the birth of a child, because after 9 months, the child must come out. It doesn't matter. If you are in a bus, if you are in a plane, if you are in a ship, if there is corona, look, Kenya has come to birth insofar as the two-third gender requirement is concerned. And if you interrogate your query much further, you will realize that what is put forth as the handicap is not a handicap. Colossal sums of public funds are being spent day after day. They are creating a super highway from a super expressway from the airport to Westlands. Where is that money? The President of the Republic of Kenya went to France the other day. He came back with a lot of money. A lot of money is said to have been misappropriated towards alleviating the effects of COVID. The long and short is this: there is money, and lack of money cannot be an excuse for compliance with the constitutional provision. COVID cannot be an excuse for compliance with the constitutional provision. As COVID precluded these elected and appointed leaders from going about their business, it hasn't. Elections are being held in Tanzania. Elections are being held in the United States of America. Kenya cannot be an exception. These are excuses that must not be permitted to prevail, because the Constitution is supreme law, and the people of Kenya must realize when the Law Society of Kenya and like-minded people come together and ask for the rule of law and constitutionalism to prevail, we're not idlers, we're not busybodies. We stand for good. We want our children, their grandchildren, to live in a country that has peace and tranquility, where the tenets of democracy and good governance are the order of the day.
So how is playing with me? Because, over the weekend, police vowed not to allow two fundraising functions that were to be presided over by Deputy President William Ruto on Sunday in Mumias East and Matungu constituencies, citing the COVID-19 pandemic and the need to maintain security that were to be presided over by Deputy President William Ruto on Sunday in Mumias East and Matungu constituency, citing the COVID-19 pandemic and the need to maintain security. So the officers, the past members of parliament and other leaders alleged to the people who had visited the two charities on Saturday ahead of the fund drive. Now we need to see the footage.
Deputy William Ruto was scheduled to conduct a fundraising on Sunday at Our Lady of Assumption in Bandalasi, a Catholic parish in Matungu, and at St. Mary Catholic Church Shianda in Mumias East. Organizers were shocked after they were notified that the events had been banned in line with COVID-19 protocols and on security grounds. The church leadership distanced itself from allegations that the two functions were political.
Understand that LSP said to go to court just to have the court hear their argument. And so, here we go. So last week, the National Security Advisory Council warned that the nationals that the falling political temperature threatened the country's security in light of the Morana trial that claimed the lives of two. The council issued a raft of measures directed by aiming to quell the tension. They're targeted by the directives. Politicians will have to seek police approval 3 days before holding any gathering. So let's begin our conversation first before we delve deeper into this conversation about gatherings by different politicians. So today's move by LSK to go to court.
Well, we are going to court in the next few minutes as we speak. This is the suit is finalized. We're not doing anything clandestine. Let the public know. Let the investigative and the espionage organs of the Republic of Kenya know that we are law-abiding people and there is nothing clandestine. Now, having set out that background, this is the position. The Law Society will challenge the directive by the National Advisory Committee because that directive is not anchored in the Public Order Act itself and is not anchored in the Constitution. Why do I say so? Because way back in 1996, towards the election, the IPPG initiative made concessions that resulted in amendments to Section 5 of the Public Order Act, the effect of which no one was required to have permission before holding a meeting. All that one was required to do was to notify the local police commander of the fact that a meeting will be held in a particular place. And if that meeting was to be held in a public venue, for instance, Kasarani or Uhuru Park, then the officer will secure the place. And if the place is not available, then they will notify. What we see right now is a return to a period much worse than last year. It's a return to a period as far back as 96. But more importantly, it must be understood that Section 2 of the Public Order Act excludes certain meetings from the operation of Section 5. And these meetings are called excluded meetings. And one of the excluded meetings are impromptu meet the people tours by members of parliament and councillors. Now, look at how ridiculous that directive is. Can you preclude elected leaders from meeting their people? Another set of meetings excluded are meetings by professional bodies. For instance, the Law Society of Kenya is a registered society. You cannot preclude meetings of the Law Society of Kenya. You cannot preclude a protest or a procession by the Law Society of Kenya. It is on that basis, therefore, and further, bearing in mind that these so-called directives are being implemented discriminatorily and selectively in a manner likely to suggest that their sole purpose is to suppress the freedoms of expression, the freedoms of association by a particular group of people perceived to be holding a divergent opinion from that which is otherwise claimed to be popular.
I was about to ask you that because from the explanation, it looks like you are agreeing with the former member of parliament, Ben Khalwale, who's saying that ikiwa Raila anatembea, ikiwa Uhuru anatembea, in terms of the political meetings they've been holding, pia sisi tutatembea, Ruto pia atatembea, because it now looks like it's a directive that these politicians are looking at it as if it's aimed at containing the deputy president.
I'm not agreeing with Khalwale, because that statement will be misconceived and trended to imply that I'm tanga-tanga. Look, I'm agreeing with the law and I'm agreeing with the people of Kenya. What is the law? The law cannot be applied selectively or discriminatorily. You cannot say you are banning a church fundraiser in Nyamira and Mumias Shanda for the reason that there is likely to be spread of COVID due to the crowding of people and for the security reasons, while at the same time you are allowing another gathering of even greater multitude of individuals to congregate in Bondo for the purposes of installing Raila Amolo Odinga as the successor to President Uhuru Kenyatta. Look, if anybody sees a problem with what we are saying, then that person is indeed the problem.
So, are you confident that, because the government's argument is about maintaining law and order, there's been a lot of political intolerance, amongst politicians. So that is why they're arguing that this directives are necessary for the country to remain united in terms of cohesiveness.
Yes, indeed. It is the responsibility of the government of the Republic of Kenya to maintain law and order. However, it is not the responsibility of police officers to compete with criminals in disobeying the law and causing anarchy and mayhem. We all saw what happened in Kenol in Murang'a the other day. Law and order deteriorated when police descended on innocent people who were seated peacefully, who were armed with batons, with tear gas and guns. Now, the security threat here can only be from the police. And I want my friend Hilary Mutyambaye to realize that not so long ago, his predecessor, Major Lee, was taken to the ICC. Why? Because he allowed himself to be misused by the incumbent and to abuse police power towards suppressing divergent opinions. These memories are still in our minds. We do not want the police service to degenerate into the affray. I can tell you without any fear of contradiction, these meetings are peaceful and they only turn chaotic when people are dispersed by the police.
Right. And Wakili, in a minute, can you respond to this question? What is so happening in Nyamira? What is so happening in Murang'a and the directive that has been given by the government? Does this demean the office of the deputy president?
Well, if a meeting of the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya can be disrupted, dispersed, and declared unlawful in the manner in which we saw, then we have reached the pinnacle of the disobedience of the rule of law and the violation of the Constitution. No transgression can exemplify more the failure of President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration. If the deputy president is not safe, why do you think you and I will be safe? And this should be an issue of great concern. I say so because I'm not a sympathizer of William Ruto, because William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta are jointly liable for the problems we are experiencing right now. I'm saying so as a spirited Kenyan who is mindful of the need for all of us to uphold the Constitution. And it should worry you if a bigger man is put in peril when he or she is innocent. What will happen to you, the smaller person? And it's for that reason, therefore, that Kenyans must take this opportunity and demand that the rule of law be upheld, at least for once.
All right. Thank you so much, Nelson Havi, the president of the Law Society of Kenya, talking to us about two important events that are happening in